to help like the 8th graders transition better from the middle school to the high school, we as 9th graders and having a little bit of experience and a taste of the high school decided to make presentations for the 8th graders to come look at and make them feel better about transitioning.
We wanted to put together multimedia presentations for the 8th graders so that they feel more comfortable coming up to the high school. And so we are talking about different aspects of the building, different important people that they'll be in contact with when they're here, clubs, activities, sports, academics, teachers, so that they have more information before they get started than they ever have before. I have taught 8th and 9th grade English for the last 11 years or so, and I see the 8th graders who are nervous going in, and now that I have 9th grade English students, I see that they feel more comfortable as the year goes on. I've always wanted to do something, whether I was teaching 8th grade or 9th grade, that was going to make the transition smoother.
So the 9th graders were very excited to share everything that they learned because they knew how scary it was for them to start high school as freshmen just this year. They're not that far removed from the middle school, and so all of those feelings are still very fresh for them, and so they were able to give us good feedback as we were organizing the project, and we were able to kind of allay some of the fears of the 8th graders.
My favorite presentation today was probably the one where you met the principals, just because I think knowing your principals is a very important thing, and just to see that like they're not so mean, there's not like they don't want to hurt me. they're just nice and they want to help me. I think that's made me a lot more comfortable.
I thought the academics was helpful because it told us what we were getting into with taking different classes.
When we were putting this together, we wanted to make it meaningful to the 8th grade, so we started with the 8th graders. We created a Google form that they filled out, and they talked about concerns, questions, things that they'd been thinking about for the upcoming year. Then we also talked to our 9th graders and said, what are some things that you felt you didn't know coming in? And so we compiled the list based on those two things.
Transitioning to the high school is not as hard as it sounds. You go from a small school to a huge school, and it's not that much, it's different, but it's not as different as some 8th graders make it out to be.
I think it's just to make us not scared and to make it kind of look like it's like a little home. And it's not as big and scary as we thought it was.
I think they're doing this for us to learn about what we can do and what Mentor High all has to offer for us.
There are so many different skills that they're building on through this project. They're adding more to their knowledge of technology. They're working collaboratively in groups. Also helps them with communication skills, and they have to present this information now to 8th graders and teachers. They realize they have to be dressed nicely, they have to be well spoken, and I think that the skills that they're using in here carry over into other classes and beyond, job interviews and things like that.
We decided to do it over a 3-day span so that we could accommodate each of the middle schools. Each middle school came up on a different day, and we decided that it would be a great idea to have one person in each group represent each of the middle schools so that they could talk to the 8th graders that maybe they were familiar with.
It's nice having memorial students because I can start up a conversation with them without feeling awkward.
3 students were in one group based on one topic, and then each of the students would be from the different schools. I was the memorial student from the hub group. The days that the memorial students would come, the memorial presenter would present to the memorial students. In my presentation, I related the hub to the media center, which is a good resource that is kind of like the hub at Memorial.
I know lots of these people, which makes it a lot more comfortable. Most of these are rich students, so it's very nice to be like, hi, how are you doing? And I see that you're a freshman right now, and you're making it just fine, so I might have a chance.
They have really exceeded my expectations with this. We gave them multiple presentation tools that they could use, and they've gone from there, and they've made these topics that generally school-related topics can be so boring. They've made these topics fun, exciting. They've incorporated games and activities.
A lot of people are using technology, and they're using like presentations and different things like that. they're also using interactives like throwing a baseball, throwing a basketball, and different games like throwing a beach ball and answering the questions on the beach ball just to make sure that we were listening. I like that they're interactive because then you're not just sitting in a room mindlessly watching somebody give a presentation, because that's just boring.
A lot of the kids talked about the virtual reality. That was something we hadn't really ever experienced before. We had no idea even how to put that together, but we just decided that the sky was the limit, and so we're like, we're going to learn how to do this.
So for us, we actually had 2 interactive components as ours. We would have like a debate table where like the 8th graders could debate and argue against each other. And then for like the speech side of speech and debate, we had a stage and we had like VR. So they felt like they were in front of 100 people. That's what they saw, and they felt like they were on a stage. I've gotten great feedback on the VR, especially. They found it quite interesting. It's a huge audience and like in front of at least 100 people there.
There were a lot of different videos, and we're hoping to have those links put up on the website so that the kids can have access to those from home, so that if maybe they didn't get to visit a station as long as that they would have liked, they can visit it from the comfort of their own home and see, like, this is what it's like to buy a cafeteria lunch, or this is what I need to know to try out for the baseball team, or whatever. So those resources are going to be really invaluable over the summer and as they get closer to school and as their nervousness starts to increase. So it'll be really nice.
I do really want to tour the high school just so I don't get lost and I'm not going insane going into my first day. But I also want to see the marching band presentation because I'm interested in that.
I think the best thing was learning about all the clubs.
It was able to serve a need that we had here in our school community that had never really been met in this same way before. The kids had put so much hard work into it. We were just so proud of everything that they accomplished and how poised they were during their presentations. We couldn't be prouder of our 9th graders.
PBL has been a big push in our district, and I think that the teachers have really embraced it because we like the idea of projects, and we like the idea of it being something more than just points for our class, that they are helping other people. It's one of those things where I think sometimes teachers are afraid of failure and we're afraid of things going wrong, and that has been the biggest thing, is relinquishing power to the students and letting them fail, letting me fail, but also seeing all the successes that we've had along the way. There have been far more successes than failures. That's been the big, I think, difference than what we're used to doing.
I'm glad I came to do this. I saw a lot of my friends at the high school and they talked about what classes they were taking and how the workload was. So it's made it pretty, like I know what I'm getting into.